Hey everyone, welcome to the Explainer. So if you've ever pulled up the ticker for a hot, fast-growing company and thought, whoa, there is no way I'm paying that much, it looks incredibly expensive, well, you are definitely not alone. Valuing a rapidly expanding company, it can honestly feel like trying to catch a moving train. But today, we're completely demystifying how to actually value these high flyers. We're going to use a seriously powerful tool called the PEG ratio. We'll break down the math, look at some real-world examples, and basically give you a brand new lens for evaluating your portfolio.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the PE ratio blind spot, then enter the PEG ratio, move on to doing the math, hit some real-world stock comparisons, and finally, wrap up with the limitations and risks.
All right, Section 1, the PE ratio blind spot.
So look, it is incredibly common, and honestly perfectly valid, to start out by relying heavily on the standard PE ratio to figure out if a stock is cheap or expensive, right? It's the classic stock market price tag. The PE ratio essentially tells you exactly how much you, as the investor, are paying for every single dollar of a company's earnings. If a stock trades at a PE of 15, you're paying $15 for every $1 of profit that business makes. Traditionally, a low PE, that's seen as a bargain. A high PE, usually a glaring sign of overvaluation. Just think of it like looking at the price of a house compared to the rent it brings in. If the house costs vastly more than the rent it brings in, your gut instinct is immediately going to say, yeah, that's way too expensive.
But here is the central problem. This is the major blind spot of the PE ratio. What if the company is growing rapidly? Sticking with that real estate analogy, what if that house you're looking at is in an up-and-coming neighborhood where rental income is absolutely exploding year over year? See, in the stock market, fast-growing companies almost always trade at higher earnings multiples. And why is that? Because investors fully expect those profits to massively expand down the road, so they're perfectly willing to pay a premium today. If you're only looking at the PE ratio in isolation, you might miss out on some truly incredible companies simply because they look a bit expensive on paper right now.
Which brings us to Section 2, enter the PEG ratio.
The PE ratio, which stands for price earnings to growth, is this brilliantly elegant solution designed to fix that exact blind spot. It takes your standard price tag and injects crucial growth context right into it. To really anchor this concept, let's turn to legendary stock picker Peter Lynch, who really popularized this whole idea. He gave us this incredibly simple rule of thumb. A company with a PE ratio roughly equal to its growth rate may be fairly valued. This is such a great historical benchmark for us. If the price multiple you're paying perfectly matches the speed at which the company is growing its profits, well, you might actually be looking at a totally fair deal.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact shift in mindset we're talking about today. Over on the left, you've got PE in isolation. This is looking at a stock's valuation in a total vacuum. It's just asking, hey, is this price tag high right now? But on the right, you have PE adjusted for growth, the PEG ratio. This asks a much, much smarter question. Is this stock's valuation actually justified by its growth rate? It essentially helps us separate the companies that are just straight up expensive from the ones that genuinely deserve their premium price tag.
All right, Section 3, doing the math.
Don't worry, the math here is super straightforward. Here is the classic textbook calculation. Let's imagine you find a company with a PE ratio of 20 and its earnings are growing at 10% annually. To find the PEG ratio, all you do is divide the PE by the growth rate. So 20 divided by 10 gives you a PEG ratio of 2.0. In plain English, that 2.0 just means you're paying 20 times earnings for business that's only growing at a 10% speed.
Now, out in the real world, different financial platforms might use slightly different inputs. Let's look at how a major data provider like GuruFocus calculates it just to completely de-jargon the formula for you. Step 1. They use the PE ratio without NRI, which just stands for non-recurring items. Don't let that trip you up. It simply filters out one-time flukes, like if a company randomly sold a building, so we can see their true, normal, everyday earnings. Step 2. They look for the 5-year average EBITDA growth rate. This ensures they're looking at a sustained multi-year trend, not just some random one-year spike. And step 3, they divide the PE by that growth rate as a whole number. So if growth is 5%, they literally just use the number 5, not 0.05. Ultimately, it's just a more precise way of finding that true price versus growth relationship.
Moving on to Section 4, real-world stock comparisons.
You know, a ratio isn't much use unless it actually highlights hidden value and helps us make better decisions, right? So let's contrast these two distinct businesses. First, we have a slow but steady mature consumer stock trading at a PE of 28, and it's growing at 7%. That gives us a PEG ratio of roughly 4.0. Right below it, we have a high-speed software engine trading at a massive PE of 40, but it's growing at 25% a year. That gives it a PEG of just 1.6. Now, what's really interesting here is that if you only looked at the standard PE ratio, you'd think that software stock is way too expensive to touch. But when we factor in the actual growth speed, that seemingly expensive software stock is actually the cheaper asset.
We can even apply this lens to a famous mega-cap example. Let's take Apple. Apple frequently trades at a premium multiple. Just glancing at it, it often looks pretty expensive for a mature company. But smart investors, they aren't just looking at Apple's PE in isolation. They use the PEG ratio to frame the whole discussion around Apple's continuous earnings growth, its massive expansion into high-margin services, its relentless share buybacks, and of course, the incredibly sticky strength of its ecosystem. The PEG ratio helps investors answer the real question. Does Apple's growth justify its premium price tag?
So, once you crunch the numbers, how should you actually interpret your result? Well, here are some handy rules of thumb. A PEG below 1 is generally viewed as potentially undervalued relative to its growth. A PEG hovering right around 1, that's roughly fairly valued, and a PEG above 1 is potentially expensive relative to its growth. But, and this is a crucial caveat, a high PEG might still be an incredibly attractive buy if that company's growth is exceptionally high quality, highly durable, and basically guaranteed to persist for years. Remember, this is a helpful guidepost. It's not some absolute law of gravity.
Finally, let's hit Section 5, Limitations and Risks.
As much as I absolutely love the clarity that the PEG ratio brings, let's be real. No single financial metric is foolproof. We need to look at the blind spots of the PEG ratio itself so you can use it safely. Let's quickly rattle off a few scenarios where the PEG ratio totally breaks down. First, it relies entirely on accurate growth estimates. If Wall Street analysts are being overly optimistic about the future, your PEG ratio is going to look artificially cheap. Second, it completely ignores the quality of the growth. Think about it. Two companies might both be growing at 20%, but if one is doing it by taking on dangerous, massive amounts of debt, while the other is just generating pure cash, well, the PEG ratio treats them exactly the same. That's a risk. Third, if a company has zero or negative growth, the math just breaks down and the ratio becomes utterly useless. And finally, it can be really deceptive in cyclical industries like commodities, where growth might spike artificially right before a massive industry downturn.
All right, we've covered a ton of ground today, and you are now armed with a much sharper tool for valuing businesses. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative question to take back to your own portfolio. Is your cheap stock actually a bargain, or is it just growing slowly? By looking past that standard PE price tag and applying the PEG ratio, you now have the growth lens required to find out. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I will see you in the next explainer.